Good evening everyone, and tonight we're going to be speaking all about making it happen. Now, what do you do when you need a particular product or service but it doesn't actually exist? Now, most people will just forget about it and say, oh well, it doesn't exist, I'm just going to get on with it. But other people actually do something about it and bring that product or service into existence. So we have some great guests tonight. My first guest is Anna Kennedy, and she's the founder of Hillingdon Manor, to talk about her moving story of how her 2 children were turned away by 25 different schools, but she didn't take no for an answer because she did something about it and she made something very, very special happen. And tonight we also have something new, and that's Chrissy's Den, and we have a very brave young gentleman on tonight called TJ, and he's going to be pitching a business to some experts. So which experts? These are Eryca Freemantle, who's a makeup artist and businesswoman, and we also have a business expert, Blaire Palmer, and also we have marketing expert, Justin Basini. And as it's Monday, we also have our regular with Chris Browne with a self-development clinic. But to introduce our first guest, let's just take a look at this video.
Around 700,000 people in the UK suffer from a form of autism, and over 50% of children are not in the kind of schools that their parents believe best supports them. Well, I'm here at Hillingdon Manor, which is an independent specialist school for children on the autistic spectrum. So let's go inside and meet the founder and find out more about the school. I'm here with Joe Redman, who's one of the patrons of the Anna Kennedy online charity. So Joe, tell us what it entails.
Well, basically what I help Anna do is just promote what's going on with her charity, and I'm also available for newly diagnosed adults or other people with Asperger's syndrome and autism as sort of a mentor and sort of give them advice and guidance.
So when were you diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome?
I wasn't actually diagnosed until I was an adult. I was about 23. I had some I got left out a lot at school and sort of out of school. In the workplace, I kind of was misunderstood as well and sort of a little bit bullied, I'd say, but since then I've managed to sort of turn things around.
Joe has won the World Kickboxing Championship 2 years in a row, isn't it? 2011 and 2012. So did you think at the time that you'd become that good?
Well, when I was 13, I set myself 3 goals. The first was to get my black belt, and I'm a 2nd degree black belt now, so I've had 2. The second one was to fight for England, which I first did in 2004, and I've done for 10 years now. And then the third one was I wanted to be a world champion. I never actually thought I would get there, but I put in a lot of hard training. I've got some very good coaches, and just really have grown from strength to strength there.
Be fine, or whether the weather be not. Whether the weather be cold, or whether the weather be hot. We will weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not.
Who are your friends here at your school?
Well, Oliver. Well, not that one, the big one. Adult.
What subject do you like doing the most?
Well, math. Well, I like it when they do like electricity, science.
I'm here with Anna Kennedy, who's the founder of the Hillingdon Manor School. It's lovely to meet you. So tell us why you first of all wanted to start the school.
I wanted to start the school because I have two sons, Patrick and Angelo, and when they were younger they just didn't have a school to go to, and I was very frustrated. And because of all the books that I read about how important it was for early intervention for children who have a diagnosis of autism, that's why my frustrations started to get more and more. So we decided in the end, let's set up our own school.
Yeah. And how did you find this school to start setting it up?
It was a school actually for children that had physical disabilities, and they were going to knock it down and build 37 flats. So I started getting anxious, thinking, oh, this would be perfect for us, because it would be ideal for probably, I was thinking at the time, about 60 or 70 pupils. So what we did was we remortgaged our home and we approached the local authority, and they put us through a lot of hoops, to be honest with you. But in the end, they said that they would lease the school to us for 30 years, so I'm grateful for that.
So can you tell me some of the difficulties that your sons faced when going into schools and trying to stay in schools?
Well, Patrick was in mainstream and it just wasn't working for him at all. He became a very anxious young man, and he started sleepwalking. He just was not a happy boy at all and started drawing really angry pictures. Angelo, when it was time for him to go to school, because his autism was so profound, the school actually said that they couldn't meet his needs, so there wasn't a place for him, so he didn't have anywhere to go when he was 5 years old.
How much money did you have at the start of it?
£3,000.
And how much did you need for the school?
The council said that we needed 627,000, but we didn't need that at all. We managed to do it with between 80 and 90,000. Yeah. So, but that was great. It was just the community came together. It was just so good. We had granddads that were electricians, that people who were Corgi gas registered. We had painters coming in, mums that were just like help clean furniture that people didn't want. Approached people like British Airways that had furniture that because they wanted to revamp their particular rooms that they had. So we took chairs, we took bookcases, tables, carpet tiles. It was an experience, but it was great. It was great. And then we had the inspector that came a month after we opened.
Yes, how did that go?
I was a nervous wreck. I was being sick. I had a headache because he could actually said, you know, it's not the right type of school. You know, we can close it because it was Ofsted. But he actually said, if I had a child with autism, I wouldn't hesitate and send them to this school. And I wanted to jump and kiss him, but I thought I better not.
You should have.
So, and then it just started growing from there and then, and from now, you know. Don't look back now, and I try and encourage other parents to do the same thing. I know it's not for everybody, but my boys have taught me that anything is possible.
What a fantastic school, and what an honour it was to meet Anna, who went to great levels to achieve this with very little to start with. Hillingdon Manor is one of the largest of its kind in Europe, offering 150 autistic children a safe, structured education and a brighter future.
Wow, and we've got the amazing lady herself here, Anna.
Hi there,
Hello,
Chrissy.
how
Hi.
are you?
I'm all right, thank you. It's lovely to watch.
That was such a moving video. Really, really wonderful. But obviously, you know, we see that place looks lovely and from the outside, but there was so much sacrifice that went into that, wasn't there?
There was. Yes, when we first started, obviously we'd never started a school before. It was a crash course in absolutely everything, HR, Department for Education, you know, trying to get the resources together. You just kept going because I knew I had to do it because my boys, you know, I just kept thinking early intervention, we've got to do it. Parents started supporting us who were in a very similar situation, and it just proves that anything is possible if you've got the drive.
What made you do it though? Because a lot of people are in the same situation as you're in, and they have children that maybe have been turned away from other schools. But what was inside you that made you say, look, I'm going to make it happen, I'm going to do something here about it?
I just thought, it's got to be done, you know, no matter how I'm going to do it, it's got to be done. So, and I think it's because maybe it's the Italian passion inside me because you know, my background's Italian. Yeah, and my love for my sons, and I just thought we can't carry on the way we're carrying on at home. You know, it just wasn't working. I don't sleep much now anyway, but not sleeping. My husband going to work, he comes back, I go out to work, I come back home. You know, we were almost like on automatic pilot. It was just nowhere to live. So I had to do something to make a better life, and so that my sons can make a mark in their world, you know, like everybody else.
Yeah. Do they realise how special? I hope they do.
They know I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm always encouraging parents, and I'm always thinking out the box. How can I raise more awareness about autism? Because I speak to lots of parents who are going through the same thing I went through in 1999, and I'm thinking, right, how can I do this? How can I make more, you know, make more awareness? So I'm always thinking out of the box, you know, do performing art shows, got a charity fashion show coming on. So it's just like thinking out the box all the time.
Wonderful. Now, what I found very interesting, Anna, was because I was reading up about you and everything, and also obviously the video. And when sometimes people are afraid to start things because they think, but I'm on my own, who's going to help me? But what happened? You started something anyway, not knowing where the help was going to come from. You had to remortgage your own house. But then out of the woodwork, like you said, people just started appearing and started helping you. And I think that's something that does happen when you actually make a move to do something. Help does come from different places. When people see that you're passionate about something, they will come and help.
Yeah, people say that there's something about me that, I don't know, I've just got something inside me that attracts people, but I've always believed, ever since I was a kid, you either give up, give in, or give it all you've got, and that's what I do. I always go all out. If I don't get an answer one way, I'll look for somewhere else.
Give up, give in, or give it all you've got. That's amazing. That's wonderful. So what are your future plans just before we go to the break?
I'd love to have a performing arts school. I would really love that because my background is in dance. And dance has taught me so much. I was very quiet, I was very shy when I was a kid, and just dance helps you with your posture, it helps you with, you know, assertiveness, and just helps you with everything, creativity. So I'd love to have a performing arts school because of Autism's Got Talent, and it's just the way it makes me feel when I see these children and adults who've been bullied and, you know, they've turned to the performing arts. So
I'm sure you're going to get there very soon, and we're going to have you back on to talk all about it. Deal?
Yeah,
Should we do that? Okay, Anna, thank you so much for sharing your story. And after the break, we're going to be joined by a young man called TJ who's going to be pitching his business idea to our panel of experts. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and now we have our own version of Dragon's Den, but our lovely experts are not dragons. They're very, very nice, and they're experts, so they're going to be helping our pitcher today, which is TJ. So let's just introduce them. We have Eryca Freemantle, who's a makeup artist and business lady, and we also have Blaire Palmer, who's a business expert, and also our marketing expert, Justin Basini, and we have the brave young man with us, TJ. Welcome, TJ, and welcome everybody.
Hello.
Oh, you're very quiet.
Hello. Hello.
You can't wait to get just focusing on him. You can't wait to get going, can you? Okay, so TJ, you're quite brave to come on today, but you're quite used to speaking in front of people, aren't you?
I do a little bit of public speaking for the Princess Trust. Yeah.
So what are you expecting to get from today?
Maybe some tips and advice on how to develop my business, and a couple of ideas maybe.
Okay, so the stage is yours. So tell us about your business idea that you have.
Okay, so through working with the Princess Trust, I've worked with some of the million under 25s who are struggling to find employment. Also, I run a fencing contractors, and we have a terrible time trying to find staff. There's a massive skill shortage in fencing. So I decided to try and fill those gaps in the fencing industry with some of the young people who come through the Princess Trust. However, the problem is the skills. So I've developed a work skills program where we take young people from the Princess Trust out to their local woodlands. We train them in fence installation and get them a job interview in an attempt to fill that skills gap and reduce the employment issues with under 25s.
Great idea, TJ.
Yeah.
So how far have you got so far?
We're just about to launch in September. We're going to be launching London and Essex. So I've got one more meeting left with the Woodlands Trust, sorting out some community projects, and then we're just about to get our first groups of young people out.
Okay. And what's going to be the biggest challenge for you in making this work?
Definitely raising sponsorship, trying to get the money and the materials and the resources together to make it happen.
Do you have any plans for that?
Is it a charity or a business, TJ?
It's a social enterprise.
Okay.
So it's neither a charity or a business.
Okay. So you're going to make some money from it, or does the money go back into the business?
There's obviously staffing costs and stuff like that, but the vast majority of the money goes back into actually running the projects.
Okay.
So
your challenge is raising sponsorship to get the business up and running?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And how are you going to do that?
We're currently approaching the lottery fund. We've applied for $500,000 from those. Local contractors and fencing suppliers, some of them are going to donate some materials to us. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. We're going to try and get some corporate sponsors too, is the next step.
And when you say we, who's we?
My business partner Matt Governor, who I'm working with, he runs an organisation, Biz Britain, which is support for anybody without a degree to get into business. So.
Okay. So if I was someone who could offer you some kind of sponsorship, what would make me believe that you're the guy to run this business?
Well, I've had lots of experience working with young people already with the Prince's Trust. I've had lots of experience in the fencing industry and also lots of experience in the social enterprise sort of sector too. So I really think I'm the best person. I don't know anybody else that's kind of got experience in all of those sectors to bring all together. So
great. Yeah. And what are your targets?
We have, in London and South East alone, we have 2,000 clients per year come from the Prince's Trust. The aim is to get at least 10% of those into work.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? You have lots of experience in 3 different areas.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
And when did you start?
I set up in business when I was 18.
Okay, wonderful.
So it's come up on 5 years.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
And what got you into fencing? You know, 18-year-old boy. I want to go into fencing.
I bet. That's what you wanted to do
pulled
all
you into
through
fencing?
I attended a carpentry course in college, and when I left college, it was 2008 and a recession had hit, so there was no apprenticeships. That was my plan. So I sat down with a list of different business ideas and sort of crossed them off. It come down to either importing doors, internal doors from France and installing them, but I actually hated installing doors. And the other one was fencing, so it just kind of ticked all the boxes, something I thought I could do, something I thought I'd enjoy, and it was within budget as well to set up. So, yeah.
You had a budget?
I did.
And what was that budget, if you don't mind me asking?
About £10,000.
Wow. At 18 years old?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So do you think that other young people would be interested in fencing? How are you going to make it interesting to them?
That's a really good question. I think I don't think everybody is going to be a career for them, but if the skills that they gain from breaking boundaries will not only be fencing skills, it's going to be all like universal work skills. So anything from, some people even struggle getting up in the morning or speaking to people, or just really basic work skills. So even if fencing isn't for them, we can still help them into another career path.
And you're going to help them break boundaries.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good name. It's
Very
a good name.
Thanks.
So is it a structured course that you take them through? How does that actually work?
We're currently working with the Prince's Trust because there's the Prince's Trust will be giving them a qualification at the end, which used to be a City and Guilds, but they've now got their own one.
Okay.
So we're working with them to actually tick the boxes for their qualification. So we're currently working on a.
And how long
course.
does that take?
It's a 5-day course.
Okay, so it's quite intense. Can I ask, do you know why they've changed it from City and Guilds to their own? I mean, it's pretty obvious, but is it globally recognised? Because I know City and Guilds are.
Yeah, I've been told that it's just as recognised as a City and Guilds.
Okay.
So yeah.
And did I hear you say that you're an ambassador for
the Prince's Trust? Yeah.
Can you tell us how?
When I first set up, I approached Prince's Trust for some support and went through the enterprise program there. And after I saw a little bit of success with my business, they called me back and asked me to become an ambassador.
That's wonderful.
And go out and try and inspire some other young people to set up a business. So.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a really passionate guy, and I think you can make it happen. I think that you probably need to let some of that passion out, because as you've warmed up a bit, you've become really, really much more confident than you were at the start. And I think if you're going to go out and you're going to get the sponsorship and you're going to convince people that you're the guy, even though you're young, that you're the guy, then you've got to just really, really believe in yourself. And that's got to come out in the way that you communicate, the way you present yourself. I think it's all inside, but I'd want to see it come out more.
So TJ, obviously our experts are going to stay with us for the next part. You're going to stay with us after the break, and then I'd like you all to be honest with him. I'm sure you will be. Like I said, we're not here like Dragon's Den. No one's giving any money at the moment. Who knows? in the future.
You never know from him.
Yeah, exactly. So you're all going to be giving some tips to him on how he can improve, maybe the way he presents, maybe if you've seen any gaps in what he's doing with his business and everything. So anything that can really help him. And you've all been really lovely to him, which is great. Okay, so do join us after the break. And if you want more information about any of our experts tonight, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And also, if you'd like to send an email, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to our show, Making It Happen, and let's carry on with our Chrissy's Den for today. So we've heard TJ's pitch, and it sounds like a great idea according to our panellists, our experts. So Eryca, what advice would you have first of all for TJ?
You're a young man, very handsome. You don't look 22, and I'm sure lots of people say that to you.
He looks younger.
I think he does look younger.
Yeah.
But I'd like to ask you, you're pitching, you're on TV, you know, for me it's about presentation. Can you tell me why you're not wearing a suit?
I've got a really bad gripe with suits.
Okay.
I call it the 9-to-5 army uniform. and I've sworn I'll never wear one.
Okay, have you ever worn a suit?
Maybe to a funeral once.
Oh dear. Okay, so I was about to ask you, did you feel that people treated you differently when you wore a suit?
Yeah, they definitely do. If you dress more formally, I'd say you do get a little bit more respect. But I just have that gripe with it that I can't wear one.
But don't you think that's something you should kind of let go of now? Because if you want to get ahead,
no, I can't. I like
networking and stuff like that.
I kind of like being a little bit different when I go to networking events and stuff.
I'd say go the other way. So I'd really embrace the outdoorsy, young, kind of in the forest brand. I think you need something that really, really differentiates you. You are young. The people who are going to be coming on this scheme are young. Maybe when you go and see the bank manager, exactly. You might want to wear a suit. Yeah. But for the business, I think that you want to really, really create a brand that is appealing to the people that you're trying to get onto your program, but also gives a sense of reassurance to those people who are going to be sponsoring you, those organisations sponsoring you, that says that you're kind of in integrity, you're authentic, the real thing, not pretending to be something that you aren't. So I'd go even further than this. I'd go really outdoors. I'd go, really young. I'd embrace it.
That's a bit of a risk, though, isn't it?
It is, but business is a risk. And if you look at the really powerful brands in this world, they've done something to differentiate themselves. They don't look like everyone else, and the people that run those businesses don't look like everyone else either.
I agree, but I still think that you need to step back a bit. Brands are developed over a period of time, and yes, you do need to leave your signature, but at the same time you want to win people over at the beginning, and then you can gradually let your hair grow, she says. Then you can gradually let yourself go. But I do agree, and especially when you're seeing somebody in authority, yes, it may be their expectation, but sometimes to win people over, you need to go into their way of thinking, just sometimes, not all the time.
No, I agree that maybe different times required it to do different things. So if it's the best for what I'm trying to do, then I'll change it. Okay. But I
still think you need to be true to you. And there's nothing. I do a lot of work with leaders, and the big thing that they're all looking for is people to buy into them, to follow them, basically. And that's what you're looking for too. And people won't buy into you and they won't follow you if they don't believe that the inside and the outside match. So I think if how you are on the inside is how you need to come across on the outside.
Justin, what do you reckon? Because me and Eryca are sort of on the side of it.
I think it is all about belief. And you look at Richard Branson, you look at Steve Jobs, they never wore a suit, right? So I wouldn't worry about that.
When they got to where they are. When they started out, they address themselves accordingly to particular environments. I'm not saying you should wear a suit all the time, but in particular environments, because that if it means winning a sponsorship, situation, then why not wear a suit? And it doesn't have to be a suit and tie. It doesn't even have to be matching.
A little bit of a compromise, is it?
Just a little bit of a compromise.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay.
All right, we'll leave it on that point because half is half and half, isn't it?
Yeah, which is great. Right.
So tell me about structure. So have you got a business plan?
I do, yeah.
Okay. And have you set a series of targets around that business plan?
We have, yeah, and we've met all of them, and the last one is to have had all of our community projects in place by Wednesday, and that's coming up, and that's this Wednesday.
Wow.
And that meeting is this Wednesday, and that will be sealed and ready to go in September.
Okay, you've hit a really important thing there. So keep in mind as you're going to pitch, it's all about delivery, right? So if you set a plan and if you set a set of targets, be able to go back and say, this is what I delivered. We set this target and this is what we did. And it actually doesn't really matter whether you hit the target or not. It's better if you have hit the target. But actually the fact that you go and you say, I have set that target and I have measured my performance against it, whether I was above that target or below that target, that's a really important discipline in business. So I would keep going with that. It sounds like you've got all the right elements in place to really make that work, and be able to write it down into a short document, be able to have that, because together with your suit and tie, if you've got if you've got your document that you can give, it gives a lot more credibility to what you're trying to say. It's not just chat, it's actually you've got some substance there as well.
Experts, just anything missing that he needs to do right away or in any area?
Well, I haven't seen any visuals yet. I mean, I haven't seen, what the logo looks like. I haven't seen a website. I've seen your other business website, but I haven't seen the Breaking Boundaries website. Okay. Does all of that exist?
Yeah, we've got all the branding sorted out and the logos.
Okay.
And we've got a basic website at the moment with just the basic information. We're having a better one built up at the moment.
And what's your website address?
Breakboundaries.org.
Okay.
And you say we. How many of there are in your team?
At the moment, there's 4 of us for Break Boundaries. So yeah, we've got Jason who runs all of the internet side of stuff. Matt is my business partner, and he's like a really good social entrepreneur, and he's going to be dealing with all of the corporates and all that sort of stuff. I've obviously taken over with the whole fencing side of things. And then we've got one more person who happens to be my mum, who runs all of the boring office kind of admin-y kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think the one thing I would say is, in terms of if there's anything missing, is so we've got 1 million. I think you said 1 million young people who didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
And you said there were 63 opportunities in fencing.
Yeah.
The question that I would have for you is, can you take your core idea and move it to different things? So take it from fencing and maybe go to other skills, because that allows you to scale, what's called scale the business, right? So you can go from 63 to 600 to 6,000 to 60,000. And so if you think about that, how can you learn what you're doing in fencing but then move it to different things? I think you'll have a really great chance.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Is that useful for you, Jay?
Yeah, it's something I've thought about. Maybe because you get lots of community projects like regenerating youth centres and stuff. So maybe doing painting and decorating version, and things like that. And I was actually even thinking into sort of admin and different kind of more office-based skills as well, not just practical skills. I've only thought about it, mind you. I haven't actually researched into it, but yeah, it's definitely a good idea.
I mean, you've had a lot to think about anyway, and you're obviously a doer, but
makes
things happen. But remember that these are added things that you can help to grow the business as well.
And it's that secret sauce. So what you're looking for is, as you say, something you can replicate. So work out what's the secret sauce with the industry you know, how you get people from being unemployed to going through your scheme to actually having jobs at the end of it, and then you can basically productize that, then you can apply it to anything. So you can partner with people from other industries. You don't have to know about painting and decorating or hairdressing or whatever it might be. You partner with them, but you say, I've got the secret sauce. I know how to take them from being unemployed to getting a job.
Delegate.
And that's where your brand breaking boundaries, because it's not, you know, breaking fences or learning fencing or whatever. It's absolutely brilliant, right? You can extend that to lots of different industries.
Yeah, the idea of the name boundaries actually did link to fencing, because obviously a fence is a boundary.
Yeah.
So
you thought beyond that.
Play on words as well. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Any final questions? I think we've got about 30 seconds left before we go to a break. TJ?
No.
You got everything?
I think they've given me all the information I need.
You've got a wealth of
I think what I'd say though is just go for it. You know, it is all about belief, and don't let anybody put you off. You've got to go for it.
I was going to say, I admire you. I think you're quite phenomenal, and I'd like to see you in 10 years' time.
Thanks.
Okay, TJ, thank you so much. Experts, thank you so much for all you do. You were great. I love this combination, actually. Have to have them again. Okay, so after the break, we're going to have our self-development clinic with Chris Browne. And you know what? I believe anyone can develop themselves, can get better, but as everyone's been saying, you just need to believe in yourself. And even if you don't at the moment, I'm sure you will do after today and after hearing what Chris is going to be saying. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, so from the den, we are now in the self-development clinic with Chris Browne.
Oh,
hello.
Hi.
What did you think of our panellists?
Do you know what? I thought that was brilliant. Planning this, points of views, great. TJ was brilliant at selling himself. It was a bit like when you play tennis and you've got to bat it back, and he was batting it back all the time. The area which I thought about, which is really interesting, got to get my bit in there as well, is the suit or not the suit.
What's your opinion about that?
Well, my opinion, it's funny because I work with a lot of groups on it. Well, what I normally say is, look, if you're going to go into a company, they all wear black suits, right? That's their company culture. You're not going to go in with a yellow suit, are you? Right? So you've got to give them some thought. But I do agree, develop who you are, your brand, who you are, and go with it, you know?
So you haven't really given the answer then, so a suit or not?
Suit or not? I think suit for certain occasions while selling. Right?
3 for 4.
But he's got to keep his own self.
Okay, all right, so then we win.
Oh, well, funny enough, tonight, talking about, leading from that, we're talking about building the creative mind. And I've noticed from speaking to everybody earlier on as well, nobody could have done anything without a thought behind it first. And sometimes it's a case of, even the business board, I'm sure it's just a thought that came into mind, and then the thought becomes a reality. And sometimes we have to learn how to develop that creativity to actually believe and go ahead. And while I was doing a bit of research on this, I actually jotted this one down. And it's a quote by Einstein, which is going to come up in a second. Right? And it says, logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Yeah, and when you think about it, it makes sense, because you can have all the facts and the figures and everything like that, but if you haven't got the imagination to actually join them up, it's not really going to work. And overall, what we're talking about is imagination. Imagination transcends logic. So sometimes we get up and we have a great idea. Does it work? Does it not work? It only works when you put it into action. When you actually get up and do something with that creative, that imagination, that idea that came to you. Because there's a lot of great ideas that are waiting there, or some have gone, never got used. Some are sitting on the shelves, and you walk in later on, about a year after, and you see your product there, and you think, well, I thought about that, but I didn't do anything about it.
My mum-in-law's in that situation now.
Oh, really?
She had an idea. I won't say what it is yet because she's still in the process of doing it. But she was sitting on this idea for over 10 years.
Right.
And now and I think part of it was due to her self-confidence. She didn't sort of really believe in herself that much that she could do it, or maybe the idea of all the things that were, involved was very daunting to her. But finally, she's actually gone for it, and things are panning out really well. She's getting a lot of interest. So it's just sad sometimes, because there are so many missed opportunities, and there are people struggling in doing jobs that they don't like to do, and they could be doing something that they love, but it's just that fear, that initial thing of actually going there and trying something. Obviously, you may fail, or you may sort of face certain obstacles, but if you just keep going, if it's a good idea, you'll get there in the end.
Go with it. And the funny thing about it, talking about just saying, TJ, it's a lot of young people that come up with a lot of creative ideas that step outside. Here we go. Boundaries, right? Boundaries, all right?
You can't use that.
I'm not allowed to use that no more. I thought that was great. Well, Hang on, how can we use it? Right, okay, anyway, moving on. Talking about this, there's a quote as well. It was by Steve Jobs. I mean, you mentioned it earlier on about Steve Jobs. I think it was Justin that mentioned Steve Jobs earlier on. And I've got it here, and I've actually got to read this one because this by memory. It's creative thinkers produce ideas by finding relationships between facts. So when you think of the sort of dot to dot, you know, we used to do dot to dot when I was young, it's that sort of thing, right? And facts on their own are useless until one sees the connection between them. So that goes back to this first quote as well, and you can see how certain people have actually used this and move on. Now, there's someone, I thought this was great when I looked up, there's a woman who got together, her name was Jennifer Telfer, and she got these pet pillows. Now that sounds very like normal pet pillows, right? But it's these pillows that are shaped like pets, basically, and they're selling, they're making millions out of it.
Oh.
Now, you probably have thought that and just put it aside and just left that there.
Well, what's the appeal with a pet
With
pillow?
a pet pillow.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose some people like the comfort. Oh, my
Just
pet.
get a pet.
Right, just get a pet.
On a pillow.
Well, hang on, it's a lot more expensive. A lot more
Yeah,
expensive
well, I suppose it doesn't
than
do
a
it
pillow. But taking that further as well, talking about creative ideas, this one, I still can't get my head over it. There was a couple and husband and wife, and they bet a friend about could they sell a butterfly. And yes, they did. And up to today, it's in the States, they're making millions out of it. They actually catch butterflies and sell them.
Are they allowed
making
to do
something
that?
out of nothing. That's what I thought. First thing my wife said when I was talking about it, she said, I'm allowed to do that over here.
Grab a butterfly.
Hey, different laws, different places. That's what I thought as well.
That's
Should we
gonna
be
put you
saying that? Don't
catch
go
wasps,
catching
maybe.
butterflies and putting them out there, okay?
That's really naughty.
It is.
I didn't think
but
that
they've
was
actually
legal.
made millions out of it.
Hang on, where's this? Which country?
I think this is in the States.
Oh.
Right, they've actually made millions out of it. But getting back on track. Anyway,
Sorry, yeah. Got a bit distracted there.
All right, number two. Let's talk about
I think
taking
they've
the
put the
limits off.
heating on in here rather than the aircon. It's getting really
Oh, that's quite high, actually.
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. Starting by taking the limits off, right? Starting your morning by taking limits off your thinking, right? Let's start with this one. All things are possible, right? A lot of words that came out is thinking outside the box. Sometimes we have situations in life, it could have been when we grew up, it could have been later on, it could have been someone telling you. Sometimes it's a tutor as well saying, look, you can't do this, you'll never be that. And when you do get an idea, you've got these limits around your mind at the end of the day. So you've got to be able to take down these barriers and just do. Take down the barriers into your mind, the limits that are around you, and take them down and just do. Why do I say that? Is because there are many people who concentrate more on what they've lacking instead of what they've got. And the other one is, I remember this particularly, there's a gentleman and he's meant to be like a deca-millionaire, and I've mentioned this before. And he runs an multi-international company, very big, massive. The only thing is he can't spell or write, right? That's what he said, right? They asked him, how come? And he said, well, look, I don't have a PhD, but I have many PhDs working for me. Now, when you think about it, do you think somebody like that has taken the limits off their mind as well? He didn't think about what he lacked.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, and he achieved greatness through it. So he must have just ploughed through, just believing that he's the one, he can do it regardless what. He didn't think about what he hasn't got. He thought about what he has and what he's going to do with it. So it's the same as making something from nothing at the end of the day. And going back to that quote, what I saw earlier on as well, and I thought that was brilliant. That was brilliant to get at school started. It's the same thing, another parallel at the end of the day. It depends, each person has a different motivation why to go ahead with that. Right, so moving on. Now I'm going to get to actually what we need to do to actually build up that creativity. And one of the things, it's funny because I have this myself now and then, is your first thought in the morning. Always have a pen and pad near you in the morning. First thought, brainstorm. Just put them down. Don't worry about if it looks right, if it's good. No, I shouldn't put this or anything. Just brainstorm. First things that come to your head in the morning. Don't worry about it. Later on in the afternoon.
Probably gibberish if it was me.
Sorry?
Probably a load of gibberish if it was me, because sometimes I forget who I am. I'm like, you know, when you just wake up sometimes thinking, what day is it? What am I doing? Like that kind of thing.
But those are the actual gibberish ones, as you said.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that is working with the left side of the brain, which comes out that you can actually use later on when you start putting it right together. Look back later on. All right, you'll cross off 1, 2, or 3, but there'll be something on there that you can use. It might be something you have to do throughout the day. I actually advise someone to try that out first thing in the morning. Try, or like me, sometimes it might be 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I do
Go
wake
back
up
sleep,
and I write things down,
at the end of the
ideas
day.
that I have.
Yeah, so it's a good way of releasing that creativity inside of you and working with it instead of confining and just saying, got to do this way, that way, this way, right? Okay, moving on. Learn something new each day. Learn something new each day, and that's a great one because it could be a book, it could be someone you meet, it could be do the things that you wouldn't normally do. Read something that you wouldn't normally read. Somebody else read a thing I wouldn't read that. Pick it up, read it, you know. Everything that you wouldn't normally do. That's it, it's jumping out of it. Being creative, yes, learn something new each day. Plus, if it's something that you can actually use, hey, who knows how far that would go, right? Okay, and coming down to our last few.
Last few.
Last few. I know I was going to say last one. I know, that's what I realised. That's what I said. I thought we talked too much on the first one, ain't it? Should I stick with what I know? It's a question that came up. It's funny. It came up on a workshop I was running as well. And I always talk about find out what your potential is and working with that. But it isn't find out what your potential is and staying with that. It's finding what your potential is and growing from that and building on it. Same thing, breaking down boundaries, the limits, carrying on. Right now, I'm aware, and I'm looking in the eyes that we've only got less than 3 seconds. I can always see on Chris's face. Right, she's going right. Okay, so here we go. The unemployed, self-employed person. Most of their work and their pay comes from their creativity at the end of the day. And how do you put a price on that? You don't. You just keep going. So someone who's actually self-employed, most of their payment, let's say, the more creative they are, the more they get paid. Right? So they've got to find ways to develop themselves and go with it. So you've got to work outside the box. I'm not saying only the self-employed, employed as well. You've got a great thing in your mind that you can actually put forward to the company. Good for you at the end of the day. Good for you. Be an asset to the company. And I'm going to round it up on that one instead.
Yeah, because we have run out of time. I wanted to say something, but it's gone now.
You want to say something?
I'm going to say it anyway. Can I say it quickly? Okay, you know, since I've been doing these challenge Chrissy things that I go out and I film different things, I've actually been tried things that I've never done before, and I've surprised myself because there's some things that I thought I'd be really terrible and I turned out to be really good. So sometimes you don't know until you try something new. Yeah. You actually surprise yourself and how good you can be at some things, and if you're not at the others, so at least you tried. But anyway, we have to leave it there. So basically what we're saying on this program today, if it doesn't exist, if something's not there already, make it happen and believe in yourself and keep going until you make it happen.
That's right.
Right? Totally okay, agree. Then so we finished for today, but do join us again on Wednesday. We're going to be speaking about a man's best friend, and it's not just going to be a show about dogs, but it's going to be about the qualities that sometimes dogs have that human beings lack and we need sometimes. So sometimes people prefer the company of animals than they do human. Why is that? So we're going to be looking into that on Wednesday. So bye-bye for now.